Welcome back to Project Eggroll. I'm Phil, and it is time. It's time for me to talk about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, or Indy 4. So, first and foremost, this movie is freaking wacky. It's a goofy ass movie, and the thing is that Indiana Jones it's part of Disney, so it can be campy and wacky at times. But overall, this one, if the previous Indiana Jones were like at a 4 or maybe even a 5 in terms of wackiness, this one is at like an 8. I found this movie to be pretty crazy at times, like over the top, and oh man, overall it was just, I didn't really care for it. It was a big 2 hours wasted for sure. So, first and foremost, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull sets place in 1957. So, I believe this is during the whole. This is after World War II, or prior to JFK and stuff like that, and like the whole alien stuff, maybe with like Roswell or some other crap that happened in like New Mexico or something. But there's a crap ton of gophers in this movie. Like every time there can be a gopher on screen, there will be a gopher. You know, I think there was like total of 5 times where there were gophers on the screen. It was so stupid. The CGI in this movie was not great. Like the set pieces look awesome, right? But when they're in the forest or when they're in the desert or anything like that, I believe most of these most of this was filmed actually on location, but it just looked very like had a crap ton of post-production that made it very like bright and vibrant, and it doesn't look as like grainy and like dirty as the other ones. I believe the older ones felt more, I don't know, it just feels more grounded in the older ones. This one just felt I felt very disconnected from it. Now, one character that they introduced that was awful. His name is Mac. Oh my god. This character was so horribly written. I hated him the entire time. Are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy? Are you a good guy? Or no, you're actually a bad guy. It's like triple crossing or something like that. I don't know, but this guy was just a person who was a capitalist, right? Whoever pays him the highest, he'll go. And it was really, really dumb. And this character was really stupid, and it sort of has the same trope as the previous Indiana Jones, which was The Last Crusade, where the first person you actually meet that sort of helps out Indy is the actual bad guy, and they use the same trope here. I sort of figured that that he was not the main bad guy, but a bad guy. The true bad guy is I forgot her character's name in the movie, but because I didn't really give a fuck. It was played by Cate Blanchett. So Cate Blanchett, in most of her stuff, she's pretty good. In this movie, she was a little over the top. I believe she said that she was from Ukraine, and it's it's actually pretty relevant right now. She has a terrible like Edna Mode haircut. It was awful. Whoever designed her hair, whoever wanted her hair to be like that, you should not be working at all, unless you're Edna Mode or something. Another thing was there's a lot of outrageous. When I say outrageous, some kind of like wild, crazy, impossible scenarios. One main part that I found I thought was pretty cool was when Indiana Jones, look, I'm gonna jump around. I don't really care. I don't give 2 shits about this movie. This movie was boring, and there's some parts that was good. Don't get me wrong. There's some parts that was good, but overall the movie was like, I don't care about it. So the part that I'm talking about is when he goes to this town, and he thinks that this town has people in it. So he goes inside. He goes inside I believe the back door of a house. And he screams out hello. He's trying to get some water. The water isn't working. And he goes to the people that's in the house, but they actually ended up being mannequins. This town is made out of homes and mannequins. And he goes outside, and there's this giant blaring alarm that goes off. And if you don't know by now, it's basically a how do you say it? A missile or like nuclear bomb test site. And I was like, so okay, how the hell is Indiana Jones gonna get out of this? I shit you I am shitting on you right now.
You're shitting me. I'm not shitting on you.
That he actually goes in, he locks himself inside like a refrigerator lined with lead, and he hides himself inside, and the whole city, the whole town just goes up in smokes, and the fucking giant explosion wipes out everyone, even though no one's there actually. But if cars could go, cars could actually be sent flying, houses are being ripped to shreds, being completely obliterated. You then see a freaking refrigerator bounce maybe like 7 to 9 times. Okay, let's say you survive the blast, you survive the radiation or whatever. Ain't no shot that you will survive being flung like a rag doll. Imagine being, and especially inside a refrigerator. He comes out, nothing happens. He's like, oh God, oh shit, oh God, oh man, someone better fucking be careful about that explosion over there in that town. It's like, Jesus, oh my God. Another one was during the jungle chasing. Okay, it's you can tell Indiana Jones he's aged, and there's multiple jokes about this, right? But during the jungle chase scene, Indiana Jones doesn't really do much other than I believe he just drives and chases the bad guys. And there's this one part where, oh yeah, Shia LaBeouf plays his son. I think believe his mutt or something like that. He plays his son, and I guess somehow he's like doing some kind of like he's basically sparring or having a sword fight with Cate Blanchett, and he's basically has his legs in between like two cars. There's two cars, one foot is on the other and the other one's on the other, and he's doing this fucking like sword fight with Cate Blanchett. Motherfucker gets knocked off, and a vine grabs him, he flies into the air or some shit like that, goes up there, and he's like, oh fuck, the cars are gone now. And the cars are like gone for like 3 to 5 minutes, and he's like, oh okay, how do I get back to those cars, because they're looking for this crystal skull, and I gotta get back. Motherfucker sees these monkeys swinging on vines like fucking Tarzan or some shit, like George of the Jungle and shit. He fucking Tarzans his way through the fucking vines, and he catches up with the cars, and he lands on top of one of the cars. I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is real. It's so wacky. It's so freaking silly, man. It actually makes like wacky races look good. Like it actually makes like oh my God, it's so bad. It's so bad. Okay, another thing. During this scene, there was a part where they one of the female characters, her name is Marion, and I guess she's supposed to be an ex-lover of Indiana Jones, right? She's driving, she flies into this like pit, and then not pit, but it flies like into this ravine, and it has a bunch of these like giant ants, and then the bad guys are chasing after them, and then flies in behind them, lands on top of their car, and their car is like a freaking this convertible. There's no top, and there's no hard top. Lands on top of them. Right, just 3,000 pound, 4,000 pound SUV lands on top of them, and none of them has a scratch. It's like, oh, okay. Before I pull my pubic hair out, let's talk about some of the good stuff. Okay, Harrison Ford does a good job. Even at his age, I believe this movie came out in 2008. I remember I was actually working at Disneyland at the time, and I had some coworkers who were like, "Hey, do you want to go watch the new Indiana Jones movie?" And back in the day, I had no interest in Indiana Jones. I didn't even watch the original movies before, so I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this thing. And then they came back and like, this movie is bad. This movie's not good. They're like, it's okay. It's okay. Some of them are like, oh, it's okay. Some of them is like, yeah, this is really bad. But going back to the good stuff, Harrison Ford does pretty well as Indy still, even though given his age, I believe he might have been like late 50s, maybe early 60s when he played when he was Indy here. I think Marion, I don't know her name, the actress that played her. I think that she did a pretty good job as her. Other than that, I think the rest were okay, okay at best. Shia LaBeouf during this time, he's everywhere. This is right off of Transformers, so I believe Transformers 2 was supposed to be coming out next the following year. Might have been during he's already doing Transformers. He's getting pretty big. He was in everything. There's some great scenes between the both of them. I believe when they first meet, they go down to like I believe they go to like a diner or something. But the part that stuck out to me the most was Shia LaBeouf tells Indiana Jones, like, I didn't go to school, I didn't finish school. He's like, okay, then what do you do? And he's like, I want to repair motorcycles or something like that. And he's like, oh, that makes me happy. And he's like, yeah, do what makes you happy. I think that's fine. I think that's totally fine. And then when Indiana Jones finds out that Shia LaBeouf is his son, he's like, why didn't you make him go to school? Like, I thought that was actually pretty well done. I thought that was good.
It's not my fault, it's hers. You know, she just got PO'd because I quit school. She thinks I'm some kind of goof or something.
You quit school?
Why the hell didn't you make him finish school?
Other than that, the movie is not great. There are some parts where I think Harrison Ford does his own stunts. You can clearly see some of him. You know, some of the stunts that he's doing. It still looks pretty good, but overall, the 3D is really bad. The gophers are really bad. The set pieces are good. The John Williams score is still pretty good. There wasn't any new standout music like they did in like The Last Crusade, but overall the movie was, I don't know, man. It's not that great. But what really took me out of it, I don't know. I never read any of the books. I've only watched the first couple of movies, so I'm not sure how outlandish Indiana Jones and like the other stuff get. But when they're recovering the crystal skull and the building that they go into, that's a part of the government, it's Area 51. You sort of know that it's about aliens, right? And then at the end, it sort of gets, oh my god, it becomes so goofy, like fucking Goof Troop and shit like that, like Goofy Movie Part 2, you know, like extreme Goofy movie. They fucking bring that skull, the alien crystal skull shit, back to the shrine that was in like, I don't know, like South America or something. And like they all be like, I guess like there's like 13 of them. There's 13 of them. They all become one, you know, like fucking, I don't know. It's like a hive mind or something. And the alien like basically sort of, it comes to life. The alien, you know, freaking comes back to life. And, Indiana Jones and his crew, they get the fuck out of there because they're like, oh shit, we gotta, you know, it's not good and stuff. And then Kate Blanchett stands there. It's like, oh my God, I need like, I need this knowledge. Tell me now. Alien looks into her eyes and she turns into dust because she dies from alien knowledge. She literally vaporizes. Oh my, it's so dumb. It's so stupid. Okay. And then the final part, the final scene in the movie is Indy marries Marion. They're at a church or a chapel. They get married, which is pretty cool. You know, it's actually like, oh, he's retiring officially. He has his happy ending. And then with he has a son now. And then what's it called again? Like the door opens or something, and then there's some gust of wind that flies in, and then the hat like flies off the hat rack, falls in front of Shia LaBeouf. He grabs it and he's about to put it on. I'm like, oh no! And then Indiana Jones comes out of nowhere. Well, actually, he didn't just comes out of nowhere. Indiana Jones walks down the aisle with his wife Marion, and grabs a hat and puts it on, and da 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 da. Oh my God, dude! I can see why South Park hated this. And it does make sense, right? You have Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and, John Williams. You have the trifecta. How was it so bad?
Get his pants down. Hold him, Lucas. Come on. He ain't going nowhere. Yeah. No, stop. Rape.
Did they just want to milk this dry? I don't know. But it was awful. It was awful. And what I heard was that Dial of Destiny is not better, right? Dial of Destiny was actually either as bad or worse. I'm not sure. It's just so, man, I blame Grae. He owes me 2 hours. He owes me 2 hours. I cannot get that. I cannot get that time back now. And I was watching it when I was working like a fucking loser. And I'm like, oh, jeez, man, I should just worked instead of watching. Oh, it was bad. Anyways, like this video if you didn't, dislike if you didn't, sub, all that stuff, like share this video with your friends or whatever. But I'm gonna have a word with Grae.